Welcome back to this week's episode of the Campfire Series podcast. Today is Thursday, July 16th, 2020. I am your host, Logan Soforenko. I can't thank everyone enough for making this podcast possible, so I'm just going to say it real quick. Thank you, everyone, for all of your support. It has been a tremendous ride thus far, and we have so much more to talk about, so stay with us. We really appreciate it. With that being said, we have a very special guest today for our theater episode. He most recently was in the Broadway musical Tootsie at the Marriott Marquis Theater on Broadway. Please welcome Mr. Anthony Wayne.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Anthony Wayne. I was in the original Broadway cast of Tootsie. We just closed last January, but we had an incredible run in Chicago as well as New York. So we did Chicago back in 2018 and was able to actually bring the show on Broadway in 2019. So we had an incredible run, and I'm just happy to have been a part. And so here's to a great tour that they're going to have whenever it goes out. And I'm looking for the next situation. So that's what I have. I think there's some things coming up. So yeah.
Oh, good. Well, let me just say, when I saw Tootsie in July, and my dad, we take him to the theater every now and then, but when he saw Tootsie, I've never seen him laugh that hard.
Oh my goodness. It is one of the funniest shows that I had to be a part of. See, even my dog agrees.
Oh, don't worry.
It's one of the funniest shows that I've ever had the chance to be a part of. As we were in the room, right, exactly. As we were in the room, and Robert and everyone was creating such a great synergy in what we were doing, and it was just, he's very excited about it. Right. We were able to create such synergy and just be able to tell the story from an honest place. And a lot of people had a couple of issues with it, which I didn't even think about initially, because I knew the heart and the joy of what we were trying to share with people. And then also to see Santino's transition and to see his build and how he did what he did. It was just a pleasure to be a part of. And that cast, I really, really miss the cast. So that's what keeps me that's what kept me going every day, was the cast. So
with performing you guys performed at the Marquis Theater,
yes,
it being in a hotel. This is kind of a weird question, but I've always had this for people who performed at the Marquis. Does it dawn you that you're on the third floor of a hotel, or is it just like, oh, I'm at work, this is my theater? Like, what's that like?
well, you don't really think about it until you go out like the front part of the theater, where you go out the front doors and it's like, oh, I'm still inside. But it has its pros and cons. The pros are that we don't have to actually be outside when you come out the stage door, and then you are on the street, but you can also go out the front into the hotel, and you can still mingle in with people. So even in between shows, we can eat in the foyer they have there. You can eat upstairs. You can kind of have other meetings with other people. So it kind of has its pros and cons. I mean, I enjoyed working there, but one of the cons are that you don't have the marquee that you're used to. I've been fortunate to have been in four other Broadway shows, and so when I was once on this island, it was downstairs at the
circle in the square.
Yeah, so they still had the marquees in the front, so you were able to at least see what it is. And then the other ones, like even Anything Goes, or Priscilla Queen of the Desert, or even Pippin, it was like you had the front part where there was like the banners and everything. But this one was a little different because everyone's getting so technical now. The marquee was LED lights, and so they could change whatever they wanted. And then you had to kind of look for it. So you kind of missed that a little bit. There's still a little disconnection, but it's all good. Once people get inside, it's a joy to see all of them. And it's actually one of the biggest theaters on Broadway. So seeing the span of how many seats there are, it's just incredible. Because I've seen 2 shows there. I was able to see Follies years ago. And then I remember seeing On Your Feet there too. So I didn't know that I was going to be just a couple of years later in that theater. So, but it's one of the best theaters, and the crew is one of the greatest too. So,
So you said you were a part of the run in Chicago.
mhm.
Uh, was that the whole everyone in the Broadway company? Were they all in that Chicago cast, like it's pre-Broadway run, or did they have some people come in, to come into the Broadway cast?
Well, everybody who was part of the original company in Chicago, we all did come over, yes, to Broadway. We ended up adding one gentleman, Nick. Nick's last, we ended up adding one guy, Nick, and so we ended up adding him as the second cover for Santino, because one of the other guys who was the cover for Santino, who was playing Stewart, he ended up being the standby. Yeah, so Jeff Grady at like Grady. That's what he says his last name. So, but he's great. So we just added one other person. So it was like, hey, the more the merrier. Let's go.
How did you? So obviously, the movie has its differences from the musical. With Dustin Hoffman. Uh, with the musical, it's obviously more modern, and it's Michael Dorsey's trying to get into a musical. So
Mm-hmm.
what did you guys take away from the original movie and apply into your performance in the musical?
Well, Robert Horn, who wrote the book, he actually was the one
Tony
who
Award winning Robert
Tony
Horn.
Award winning. Yeah, I got to put that in front of it. He's the one who transitioned the book, both him and our incredible music writer. Yes, it was more of a collaboration, but Robert was the one who really stuck to the fact that we need to tell the heart of the story. It's really not just about, oh, somebody trying to be a movie star or somebody trying to be in theater. Even though there were differences, even though there were some changes from the movie to the musical, I think sticking to the heart of why Michael Dorsey was going on this journey and why he made this choice, even though it was a difference, there was a similarity. And I think if we stuck to that, that was the root of it. Even Scott, our director, he was able to really pull from us as actors and have us build with Robert as well to find what that language was. Because you don't want to be an incarnation of the movie. You don't want to be exactly like the movie. Um, because that's what people are going to come see, especially older people, especially because it came out in the 80s and people, that's what people remember vividly. So you have to kind of remind people of what it was, but also give people something new to understand. And now, I mean, there was a whole conversation dealing with the trans movement and, the comparison and things like that, because it wasn't really about Michael saying that he wanted to be a woman. It was more about him trying to do what he could to find himself and the forgiveness and the healing of himself and the mistakes that we all make when we are trying to figure out what that is in life. And so as we start to tell the journey and as the story started to come together from movie to script to from tele whatever that the telescript from writing it from the movie onto the pages of the theater script, it's like we could actually do whatever we wanted to do. So there were a lot of differences, but I think at the end of the day, the heart and soul was what we really focused on. If something didn't work, it didn't work. I mean, Scott Ellis was totally open to saying this doesn't work or this works. Even Dennis, our choreographer, he was like, this works. Nope, this doesn't work. Let's take it out. So when we were in Chicago, we were able to play and have that chance to figure that out, and then bring it to Broadway and make some more changes. So yeah. It was my first original Broadway show. So
Hmm.
I was happy to be a part of that and to know that whatever you create is whatever you create to tell the story in the greatest way, as opposed to coming in and covering or replacing. It's like now you can build whatever you need to build to tell the story in the honest way.
Absolutely. You've also been in a couple Tony performances as well. So what was it like performing on Tony Day? I guess this past year with Tootsie.
Oh man, it was a joy because we were doing it at Radio City And we did it with a bunch of people from all the different shows, Hadestown, and just everyone who was in that season. And it was just a pleasure to be on the stage with all those incredible actors. And a lot of times we don't get together as much as we should or can when you're in different shows because you're all either on the same schedule or different schedules. So everybody was just there to have a good time and just sharing so much love. There was so much excitement and energy behind it. So we had the best time, and it was like, we're all kind of cattled. Okay, we are over here, they're over there, but everybody wants to just kind of mess together and be together because we all know each other. So it was a pleasure. Um, and then to actually do the performance, it was a moment. It was really a moment. And then like there's one specific moment where we were moving and walking, and Santino had to disappear. He had to go because he had to actually change. And there's a photo that one of the dressers took of of him being changed and him about to come up from the back in the sequin dress and the red and all of that. It was just incredible. And we were walking around, and the first time we looked in rehearsal, we looked back, and there he was. It was just like, oh. So it was like, oh my goodness, you're gonna win a Tony. So I was like, this man's gonna win a Tony. You can just feel it. You can just feel it. And I have to be honest, I'm very grateful for the journey that I've had thus far. I remember years ago we were doing Anything Goes, and we were doing Anything Goes on the Tonys, and that feeling. I remember there's a part in the Tony Awards performance where we're going around setting, and Joel is there, and everybody else is it's like everywhere, and then we're in this circle, and it was like maybe like because it's like a 10-minute tap number, but maybe like 5 or 6 minutes in, we do these arms, and Kathleen Marshall had us like moving, and we were all screaming because we just knew that you could just feel that she was probably going to win. You rooting for her, and then we won as a show. It was just incredible. So I'm grateful for those experiences.
Yeah, that I remember watching. I watch that Anything Goes Tony performance on YouTube probably once every like 2 weeks because it's just so awesome and just cool. But yeah, you also Santino Fontana won Best Actor for Tootsie.
Yeah, yeah.
Did that bring kind of like a different audience after the Tonys? Like, did people come and see Tootsie? Like, oh, this is two Tony Award winning show. Did that put you guys on the map a little bit more, or what did the kind of exposure did the Tonys give you guys uh, after the beginning of June?
Well, I think any news is good news. Any news, any push, any performance, even when we did stuff on The View or what have you, or the Today Show, what have you, anything that's out there, it's always good information for people to know because a lot of people, especially people in like rural states or people that are not in metropolitan cities, they're not able to really get Broadway stuff. They have to wait till the tour comes by or by one of their major cities. So it did bring in more people to come see the show. The Marriott Marquis, like I said before, is a pretty big theater. So you have to really kind of keep putting stuff out there to keep it full because I think it seats maybe like about 1,400, maybe 1,500 people.
Which is
So
big for a
yeah,
Broadway house.
yeah, that's very big because shows like Wicked and shows like The Lion King, they seat like 17 or 1,800 people. And so you're actually literally trying to figure out how you're going to get to these people. So, I mean, we were able to reach out to a younger crowd. We were able to reach out to the LGBTIA plus crowd. We were able to reach out to, exciting people who really wanted to know what Tootsie was and people who actually saw the movie and then reach out to people who love Dustin Hoffman. So there's different ways to get out there. So especially when they find out that you've won 2 Tony Awards, people definitely want to come see and say, well, what's this show all about? Yeah.
With everyone wants to be on Broadway, and some people don't realize how hard it actually is. You guys perform 8 times a week.
Yeah.
What's that like? Like, how do you keep your mental health? I ask everyone this. How do you keep your mental health great, and how do you also keep your physical health great? Like, what are some ways you make that good for yourself?
Well, I have had a different journey a little bit because even when I started Anything Goes, that was my first Broadway show. Then my second one was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and then I went into doing Pippin. And so while I was in Pippin, I found myself yearning to write and create. So I ended up getting into producing and writing a new show that I have called Mighty Real, a fabulous Sylvester musical about the life of the 1970s disco singer Sylvester. So I play him in the show, and I was able to produce it off Broadway in 2014 and toured around the country for a couple of years. And then I kind of started having a different perception of how I wanted to stay in the Broadway world. So coming back after I went into doing Once on This Island, and once I finished that show, went into doing Tootsie. But coming into it, you find yourself um, thinking about the work sometimes, especially when you're a producer, like you get into the numbers. But of course, I think when that time that I took for myself, I found myself taking care of my mental, taking care of my emotional, taking care of my physical. And I believe when I was younger, in the first in Anything Goes, I was just, just like anything's possible. I was just ready, happy to be there, and just ready to just do anything. So sometimes you can get burned out. You can, when you're working yourself so hard and you're tapping and you're dancing every day, and it's like you're trying to reach 10 all the time. And so you have to make sure you take time for yourself. And I think that time in between when I was producing um, really helped me to see that. So going back into Tootsie, what I found out was that I needed to really rest and sleep, and do go to the gym and like work out what I needed to work out. Because when you wake up in the morning, that's the first thing you're thinking about is that show. You're thinking about that night. You're thinking about how your voice feels in the morning. You're thinking about how your mind feels, because we are of service to people who are coming to theater. We literally are giving you our emotions, our hearts, our feelings, our spirits. And to us, that's priceless. But we still have to make sure that we stay connected with ourselves. And I think for some people, it's harder than others because we give so much that you forget to pour back into yourself. And so over the years, I've been able to learn how to do that better. And I think that makes you a more present person. That makes you more able to speak clearer, as opposed to speak like with feelings and emotions all the time. And it's just like, okay, this is how I really feel, and this is what I need. So I'm going to take care of myself. And it's just finding that balance. And once you find that balance, which comes in time, then you can do anything that you want to do. So.
You said that you guys have to, audiences are coming in expecting something awesome. That's what you wake up and that's what you think about. The Marquee Theater is on a very cool part of Broadway. I like the location where all the other theaters are. I remember going there. We went to, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the name? It's the diner. I keep forgetting what it's called, but you guys are in a very iconic part of Broadway. What is it
Yeah.
like? Do you ever run into you don't get together with other companies that often. Are there ever times where you just bump into someone heading into their theater, like, oh, have a good show, like I'm heading into my stage
Absolutely,
door?
absolutely. There's across the street from there. There's Schubert Alley, which is right next to the Schubert Theater, and then that's between 44th and 45th. And then if you keep walking through between 45th and 46th, there's another alleyway, which is where Tootsie was, which is there's like an awning, but that's actually where Hamilton is on 46th Street. So I would always see my Hamilton friends, or I would see, oh, and across from next door to them was Ain't Too Proud. So I would see Ain't Too Proud people all the time because they're in the same vicinity. I would see people who were at the Booth Theater. I think they were doing Freestyle Love Supreme at the time. So I would see people there. I would see people, friends who I knew that were in Kill a Mockingbird. No, it's all right. Yes,
To Kill a
Kill a
Mockingbird,
Mockingbird.
yeah,
Right, that was there too. Yes, you would see everybody, and it's just kind of like a unknown or an unspoken language where you see people, even if you don't know them personally, you've seen them around, and so you wave. It's like, hey, oh, what's up? And you speak to them, and it's just an energy that you feel. And I think you can actually you can see the people who walk really fast, like they have food and they have sunshades on because they're covering up their makeup, and they have like a wig on or something, or like the rollers so their hair is covered. most women, and then you like have something on, and you're trying to walk really fast to get through people. So it's like just kind of keep it going. But yeah, I would see a lot of people who I knew and who I know.
That choreography in Tootsie is so fun to watch, and it was visually it looked really good and also looked a little bit demanding. But what was just doing that choreography like? Because I love the score, so doing that on top of the score with David
Mm-hmm.
Yazbek's score, it's crazy. What was that like? As a dancer in the choreography, what did that feel like for you?
Uh, well, this one was a little easier, I have to be honest. It wasn't as difficult as like a step by my glissade jeté step, whack your leg, turn, 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 lay out type situation. But even in Pippin, we were doing the Manson Trio or what have you, it was like very specific and very direct, and you had to really focus, and it was very taxing on the body. This one was taxing, but it was more like the repetition of what we were doing, and it was more mental because of a lot the way that Dennis worked. He choreographed it in shapes, and
Mm.
I don't know if you saw the show, if you're looking especially from the balcony, you could see that there was like a square, and there was like a rectangle, and then we all became this, we became that. We had certain numbers we had to be on, and we were coming through each other and around, because he had to create the city. He had to create the energy of the busyness and the hustle and bustle, and it was really cool. So we were able to kind of find that language, especially in Chicago. And we would find times we would go down to the lobby and dance and spin around on carpet, trying to figure out what it was, and and it worked. It really, really did, and it actually helped me because even though it wasn't as taxing, I was still able to do it 8 times a week. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And then we all sang. We had our own solos, and it was just really great. But yeah, dancing to David Yazbek's music was fun too, because he's done a lot of other things like Band's Visit and Women on the Verge, and it's funny because you don't think about those things. You don't think about that music or those people. You just you just with those people, and we're creating. So you're just in the room doing what you do. You don't even really think about what they've done in the past. You're kind of like, oh, it's just Robert, or it's just David, or it's just, you know. But these people are coming with pedigree, and they're coming with their mindset about what it is that they want. And so when they join your stuff, their stuff with your stuff, because Dennis was able to actually give us the opportunity to add to. Like he was like, okay, well, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this? How does this feel on your body? Take it easy with this, or how does this partnering feel? And that was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. It was some nights from because most times we have rehearsal 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday. That's how that works. And even the principals, sometimes they're not even there, and we're there from like after lunch. It's like, okay, from 2 to 5 or two to 6, we're going to do this one number, and you're doing it over and over and over and over and over again. So you come to a Broadway show and you see it once, and you think it's like boop, and it is, but to get boop, it takes forever. And so even that, there's one part we're spinning around in a circle around a wardrobe where somebody's spinning the other way, and so it was a lot, but but everybody enjoyed it, and it was Tony nominated, so that's all that matters at the end of the
Exactly.
day.
Exactly. And you said this was the first time you've been in, an original show. You have that creative process where you get to, pull stuff out that doesn't work and put stuff in there. Oh, this like all that stuff. But the
Yeah,
last point I'll bring up before we finish up. You said earlier that people there was the message of, was there the conflict of, Michael Dorsey and the trans, maybe like with the trans community. But that you said earlier that wasn't the message. The message is, he wanted to do whatever it took to do what he loved, and that's just to perform. Do
mm,
we, I think right now, especially in America, do we in America have to go too far just to get ahead? Like, just go maybe like, oh, this isn't really acceptable, but it'll get me further. Like, what is like, do we need to do that? And is it like, what's going on with that in our world, I guess, in our country?
Well, I think there's a sense of narcissism to a certain degree because us as I can speak as us as actors, we I was explaining this to someone not long ago. We focus a lot on ourselves because that's all we have. I don't play an instrument. I don't play basketball. I don't play volleyball. But if you were that volleyball and if you were that basketball and if you were that instrument, you would want to be taken care of. You would want to be lubed up and oiled and like make sure that you work well. And so that's what we do. We are the product. So you have to take care of yourself and your body and your mind and your soul and your spirit. And but there's also a work ethic to it where you do want to be great and you are in competition with other people. And unfortunately, some of us make irrational decisions or choices that will leave that we believe will take us to the next level. When the truth about it is, it'll actually hinder you. And sometimes we're not thinking about that in the moment. We're thinking about what we need because we're all we got. And you may not intentionally be trying to do it to pull anybody down maliciously or to hurt anybody or to hurt anybody's feelings. You didn't come from that place. You came from a place of, I want to do what I need to do to get where I need to go. And so I think a lot of people claw their way up. That's what it's called, clawing your way up to the top and stepping on people. And there are people who choose to do that. And then they regret it later, or they like maybe they don't get the results that they thought they were going to get. That's very unfortunate. And so I think it's up to us to step back and to not really be looking to the person on the right or the left. Because one of the greatest things I tell people when I do my master classes is you are your biggest competition. You are the person that you have to think about when you're trying to be great. I'm actually starting a new nonprofit organization called Black Broadway Men. And especially during this time, I believe that we need to come together. And it's based on the principles of unity, accountability, strength, and balance. Because those are the things that we as Black men in the Broadway community, because we're not really all in the same shows. There's only one of us in different ones. So I believe that we have to stay united to keep each other accountable and to be strong within ourselves to find the balance of life. And so as we're doing that, we have to make sure that we stay focused and take care of ourselves and know that pulling somebody down and clawing your way to the top is really not the answer. So it's really more about you taking care of yourself and encouraging and inspiring others to be great, as well as continuing to find that with the people that are around you. Because, you are the company you keep. And when you keep those people around you who will inspire you to be great, then there's no way that you can fail. You just have to continue to, speak joy, speak light and love to other people, and they'll receive it. And then you'll receive that in return. Just like I said earlier about people pouring into you. You pour into them, they pour into you. But just being cognizant and recognizing that that as you're discerning with the people that are around you who are going to be able to do that for you.
I think that's so inspiring. Sending lots of luck to you with starting the forgive me if I say it wrong, the Broadway Black Man of Broadway. Is that what it is?
Black Broadway Men. Yeah,
Black
it's
Broadway
actually really
Men.
exciting. Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to announce it this week. I have a meeting today, and then I have another meeting tomorrow, and then the big meeting is Wednesday, and then we're going to release it. So I'm really excited. So you got some exclusive information.
Yes.
But I'm excited about it because it's really more about us as a unit. Because like I said, we never speak to each other. For us to be able to, unless we're in like Motown or a show where we're all together, but we can actually go and support other entities, organizations like women. We can do things for women as well. We can do things for the trans community. We can do stuff for LGBT community. We can do stuff for people where we can raise money for young men who are coming into the Broadway community who feel like they don't have any strong person who can be like a big brother to them, like a mentorship. And so I'm excited about that. We can also raise money to give them a scholarship when they're going to college, so that they can know that they're supported. Because that's what I felt like I needed when I came into the city. And then I can connect them. We're going to connect each other with older men like Andre DeShields or George Faison, and other men who were before us who don't really get a lot of shine, who aren't known, so that they can pass on their information to myself and to younger men, so that they can be inspired to do greater things, because we're not going to have them forever. They're like they're national treasures to us.
Yeah. I think the great Andre DeShields said in his Tony speech last year that stuck with me when it comes to, when forming a support group. Like he said, surround yourself with people whose eyes light up when you walk into a room.
Come on. That's right.
That's
right.
the takeaway that I think we all need, especially coming out of quarantine and with everything that we're learning, and especially me as a white male, that I'm learning through all this. And it's very inspiring to hear your story and hear the foundation that you guys are going to start, and I'm looking forward to see where that goes. But with that being said, I wish we had more time, but thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and talk to me about life.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, like, I'm really looking forward to it. I love that we're going to be making a lot of differences in people's lives. I'm excited about that. I'm doing this myself, and James Lane is going to be a part as well. And there's a couple of other Broadway guys that I have who just want to make a difference and want to make a change, because be the change you want to see. And so that's it. But yeah, there you go. It's nice to meet you, man.
It was nice to meet you as well. I mean, it was pretty awesome getting you on the show, because Tootsie is one of my no one really, when I say I like Tootsie, people are like, Tootsie's a musical. I'm like, yeah, it was on Broadway and it was hilarious and it was amazing. But yeah, thank you so much again. And
yeah, we barely, honestly.
Go for it.
Oh, no, I was gonna say we barely would get through rehearsals and things for laughing so much. So, hopefully people will see it on tour or travel or whatever it is, or do it again. And then, just stay in contact with everyone who was like, follow them on Instagram, and yeah, here's the greater things.
Absolutely. Looking forward to your, you said some exciting things are coming your way. So hopefully we'll see you in some upcoming shows.
Yeah, some things are coming. I'm also working on, like I said, Mighty Real, a fabulous Sylvester musical. You can come see it. You can go to mightyrealsylvester.com or check us out on at Mighty Real Sylvester. And then Anthony Ken LLC is the company I have with my producing partner, Kendra Bowman. And so we're writing and producing stuff. We have a Christmas show called The Soulful Christmas. We have Kings and Queens of Soul. It's just everything that has to deal with food for the soul. So it's all about the soul.
Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to hopefully once things are back to normal, we get to, the normal ways of putting on shows and being creative and, learning new things. But
yeah.
Have fun at your meetings. Looking forward to the launch, and I can't wait to follow along and see where it goes.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, and much success with you and your podcast and everything you got going on. And I look forward to seeing even more success that you're going to have. Keep doing your thing, and we'll spread the word, okay?
I really appreciate it. I really do.
Of course.
All right. Well, it was nice meeting you.
You as well, man. Take care. Take care of all your followers as well.
You as well. Have a good one.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Follow us on Instagram at Campfire Series Podcast for awesome updates and just a good time. We'll see you next week. I'm Logan Soforenko, signing off.